Welcome back to this week's edition of the C-Score Power Rankings as we move into Week 10 of the 2024 NFL season. There are lots of good power rankings out there, and we might be biased, but we think we have the most accurate around. Our faith lies in the system we use, C-Score, this channel's metric for determining the quality of each and every team during the Super Bowl era. A more detailed description of how C-Score works is available in the description of this video. The records of each NFL team will generate this, the NFL standings. But these are power rankings, so it will not be looking exactly like this. 138 out of the scheduled 272 regular season games this season have been played. That would be 50.7%, so we are just more than halfway into the season. We think we know who the contenders are, we think we know who the pretenders are, and we're probably pretty sure who has already started planning for the offseason. Our power rankings will be reflecting that, but as is always the case, we will be seeing some surprises. After some helpful suggestions, we will be listing every team's C-score from the previous week in addition to their ranking from that previous week. C-Score only judges these teams by what they have done on the field. It makes no presumptions about the future, nor does it consider the past beyond week 1. It's cold and it's heartless. It only knows numbers. With that in mind, we're ready to reveal every NFL team from lowly 32nd all the way to the Kings of the Mountain. Thank you so much for joining us, and away we go. The bottom 8 remains the bottom 8, with just a little bit of shifting going around as the Raiders and Jaguars swap places. Interesting to note though, the teams in the bottom 4 all gained points in C-Score, but were too far behind to catch up to anybody else. More interestingly, even in a loss, the Dolphins pick up almost 5 points of C-Score. That'll happen when you play a tough opponent very close, even if you wind up losing in the end. The Panthers also picked up a win and got some points in C-Score as they look to avoid being the worst team of the salary cap and free agency era. The teams in between spots 24 and 17 don't see a whole lot of movement either, but they do have a new team in their ranks. The Chicago Bears dropped 3 spots into number 17, barely maintaining their positive C-score after getting wrecked by the Cardinals last week. The Seahawks fall down to 20 and have only themselves to blame after blowing that game against the Rams, who in turn move up 2 spots to number 18. The biggest drop this week, both in terms of their ranking and their C-score, are the Denver Broncos. They had a big test this week, and like so many of us, maybe when we were back in high school, we'd like to ask the teacher for a retake. They got hammered pretty hard by a very good team, but they sit here at number 14. The Cardinals make a nice move up the board to number 13 with their win over the Bears, just behind their division rival San Francisco 49ers, who actually moved up a spot on the bye week to number 12. We begin the top 10 with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You might wonder how a team with a 4-5 record sits here in the top 10 still. Every opponent the Buccaneers have faced this season, except for one, is in the top 15 in C-score, and that one team is the New Orleans Saints, who were looking strong early in the season. They have another top 15 opponent with the 49ers next week, before their schedule starts to ease. If they don't do as well in those games, they will continue dropping. The Chargers move up 3 spots to number 8. They are threatening the top 5, where the Buffalo Bills were last week. Even though they won their game, it was against a weak opponent, and it was essentially a 50-50 game, so they did find themselves dropping. It is top 5 time now, and coming off their bye at number 5 are the Pittsburgh Steelers. They see their C-score take a small hit down to 17.712. Essentially, the reason they dropped is because a team surpassed them. This is still a Mike Tomlin-led team. They're going to be in the thick of things through the rest of the season and are definitely going to be in the hunt for a playoff spot. But the team making the big move this week are the Baltimore Ravens. We talked about what happened to the Denver Broncos. The Baltimore Ravens happened to the Denver Broncos. They move 8 spots up the board to number 4, pick up nearly 7 points in C-score, getting them up to 18.109. Make no mistake about it, if the Ravens perform every week as they did this past week, they are going to be the toughest team to knock out once the playoffs come around. The only question is, as it has been in past seasons, can they do it? Holding steady at number 3 after a hard-fought victory are the Minnesota Vikings. They lose the tiniest bit of C-score here, not even 1/5 of a point. It sits at 21.271. This team may not be at the heights it was 2 weeks ago or even 4 weeks ago, but they have truly established themselves as an elite team. Their only problem right now is that they're in the hardest division in the entire NFL. Winning that division is going to be hard, and if they can't do it, they're going to be forced on the road in the playoffs. That could prove to be their Achilles heel. They needed overtime at home to win this past week, but the Kansas City Chiefs got that win over a good Tampa Bay team and remain here at number 2. Their C-score moved up by almost a full point to 22.407. It should be noted that yes, the Kansas City Chiefs remain undefeated. Their overall strength of schedule isn't bad at all. In fact, it's above average. It's not at Tampa Bay level, but it's still very good. They're winning their games by exactly 7 points per game. And of course, they have the pedigree as back-to-back Super Bowl champions. But despite having the best record in the league, the best record possible, they're not the best team in the league right now. No, that title belongs again this week to the Detroit Lions. They maintained their spot at number 1 with a very impressive road victory against the Green Bay Packers. Their C-score moves up more than an entire point. They're sitting at 34.466. If they're able to maintain that standard throughout the rest of the season and they win the Super Bowl, they're going to be firmly within the top 10 Super Bowl champions of all time. Just watching this team, there's very little weakness. The only possible thing you could point at right now is their pass rush, and that's only because they lost arguably the best pass rusher in the league. If reinforcements come in that department, or if the guys they have now step up, this is truly a team. Tough to say they don't have a weakness, but you can say that everything they do have is a strength. Taking a look at the big picture now, it's quite viable that these top 14 teams will be the teams that make it to the NFL playoffs, with adjustments made for division standings. For example, the Texans would be in as AFC South champions. And as it stands right now, the Bucs with the losing record are facing an uphill battle. That said, we have 49.3% of the season remaining, so we've only been told half of the story. And with any good story, the second half is just as good or even better than the first half. We're definitely looking forward to it. Thanks for being here with us today. Please give the video a like, share it with those who would be interested in seeing a different type of NFL power rankings. Subscribe to the channel if you've yet to do so, and ding that bell for notifications on all future videos. The power rankings come out every Tuesday, and we have our standard video every Friday. Let me know what's on your mind regarding these rankings or anything else. I've had suggestions that I incorporate the change in C-score from week to week on top of the change in ranking, and it got done. So your suggestions are truly taken to heart. Thank you once again, and until next time, I hope you have an awesome day.